What? I am not overcompensating.
Hail to the chief, he's the chief and he needs hailing. He is the chief, so everybody hail like crazy.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter seems like an amazing concept. It's the greatest amalgam of a historical icon meeting fantasy since Winston Churchill, Mermaid Wrangler, or my personal favorite, Thomas Edison, Unicorn Enthusiast. With such an interesting concept, you need a director who can pull off over-the-top action. Cue Timur Bekmambetov, the genius that brought you Wanted, a film that teaches you that if you shoot a gun and you flick your wrist at the same time, a bullet will curve. Even Thomas Edison's Unicorn knows that's not realistic. You'd think Bekmambetov would try and bring something new. He's already done vampires with his native Russian films Night Watch and Day Watch, so what's he gonna bring to Abe Lincoln? The answer is nothing. He goes back to the same bag of tricks you've seen a million times before. Lots of wire work and enough slow motion in action scenes to last you to the next decade. It seems like this film is just one wasted opportunity after another. Coming into the theater, I knew it wasn't exactly an Oscar contender, but what I did want to see was Abe Lincoln hunting vampires. Didn't really get enough of that. It did have a few cool cast members. Alan Tudyk, who I am a huge fan of ever since his work on Firefly. This is a kind of actor who can steal the show or steal a scene depending on what movie he's in. But in Abraham Lincoln, once again, he was just wasted. I kept waiting for the time when he was gonna start being funny. Instead, poof, he's gone like a Civil War vampire. I then thought maybe Rufus Sewell could help us out. I mean, this is the kind of guy who shows up on screen and you just think to yourself, oh, look at that guy, he's so evil, look at his eyes, he's tired all the time, like Vince Vaughn, except he's calm and not as desperate. And he's also one of those villains who's just evil for the sake of being evil. Now I get that he's a vampire, so he doesn't have a soul, but why is he the main antagonist? Hey, there are thousands of vampires, but this one has the most lines, so let's hate him more. He's not even the one that kills Abe Lincoln's mother. The character of Lincoln himself was even one-dimensional, and I want you to really let that sink in. Abraham Lincoln was one-dimensional. And that's after making him a vampire hunter, which seems to be the crux of the film. Basically, when the filmmakers were posed with two choices, they didn't go with either. Do you guys want cherry or lemon? Grape. With Seth Grahame-Smith writing both the novel and the screenplay, you'd think the story would have a little more depth. From what I hear, both Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and his previous novel, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, were amazing. But something must have gotten lost in translation. I really blame Bekmambetov because the film itself was slaughtered way more than the undead succubi on screen. A perfect example is when I did research for this film, an online clip is when Abe finally confronts Rufus Sewell's Adam.
Presume you know what I can do with this.
I know what you can do against one vampire. But against 20?
In the final cut of the film, all of that dialogue is gone. Abe just breaks in and suddenly vampires are dropping from murals for no apparent reason. Even having seen the clip, I was confused, especially why they would take inspiration from Wild Wild West. But that's the entire movie. The film is full of plot holes, continuity errors, unanswered questions, and characters that aren't even introduced by name. It really suffered from some editing problems and really took itself too seriously. It could have been a fun, over-the-top B film that played the whole thing tongue-in-cheek. Instead, it just seems like the proverbial bullet missed the mark. Guess somebody flicked their wrist. On my scale, it's a burn it. One of the only redeeming things about this film is the fact that Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who nerds fell in love with Scott Pilgrim, made Mary Todd Lincoln look absolutely adorable, and she turned in a pretty good performance based on what she got. It's a little bit of a stretch, but Mary Elizabeth Winstead is this episode's for the win. Otherwise, one of the other redeeming qualities is it's one of those great, terrible films that you have a good time tearing apart. I actually had a lot of fun in the theater because once I realized that this was unforgivably bad, it was a lot of fun to just make fun of the movie. But wait for it till it's free and on TV at like 3 in the morning. That's the best time. I will leave you with a poll question because I love these. Who is your favorite vampire killer? I won't use the S word because that would be a little leading. So as always, leave your answers in the comment section below. Please like, please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, school's out.